So Scott, then we've heard a lot of prime contractors are putting a big push on cybersecurity, whether it's NIST or SPURS or CMMC. What are primes responsible for with regard to their suppliers and their compliance?
Yeah, great question, Miss Maddie. And I think it deserves just a bit of background to understand how primes are going to have to go through their certification, and I guess more importantly, what would qualify a prime to bid on a federal contract. So when we talked about prime contractors, we're talking about those companies, whether big or small, who directly contract with the federal government. And then from there, those prime contractors might need parts or materials or services, or they may have partnerships with other organizations, and that would then be the first tier supplier to the prime. And those suppliers then might also need to have parts, materials, services provided, which means there are potentially second tier subcontractors and third tier and fourth, and in some cases 5 or more tiers. So in huge aerospace contracts, for example, they can have as many as 6 or 7 tiers in the supply chains and can have thousands of companies to fulfill a single prime contract. So with that as kind of the backdrop of this, when a prime contractor in the future is bidding on a contract that requires CMMC certification, that means that not only have they got their company certified, so think of Boeing or Lockheed or other large corporations, they need to get themselves in compliance with CMMC. They need to get their cybersecurity up to that level. They need to have a third-party assessment, and they need to have their own certification. Yet it doesn't stop there, because Rick referred earlier to the regulatory documentation called DFARS, and those regulations spell out that in addition to the requirements that you would have to meet regarding NIST, you also have to flow down those requirements to your suppliers, from whom you receive CUI or send CUI. There's an exchange of this technical documentation, and if you've been following this topic for a number of months, you know that CUI stands for Controlled Unclassified Information. So in today's world, the DFARS regulation says that not only does does your company, and I'm going to use a prime contractor as an example, need to be certified or need to be in compliance, but you have to include that clause, DFARS 252.204-7012, otherwise abbreviated as DFARS 7012. You'll hear us all talk like that. But you have to take that clause and put it into your subcontract, so that your subcontractor is now under obligation to meet that same requirement. And then, in turn, they may have suppliers where they have to flow down that requirement to the next tier and the next tier. As long as CUI is being exchanged, one direction or the other or both, so it could be there's documentation going both directions. If CUI is exchanging hands, then both parties have to be in compliance with the DFARS regulation, which means in compliance with NIST 800-171, which will mean in the future soon being fully CMMC certified. All right, now I've overcomplicated it a bit, but it's a tangled story. The background of this is that the prime contractors are not wasting this year.
Yeah.
They are absolutely pressing forward with their own preparations and pushing preparations down through their supply chain, so that next year and year after, in the near future, they're prepared and their suppliers are prepared to be qualified for bidding on a contract that has CMMC requirements.
Thank you for watching this video to the end. This is part of a longer series on DFARS, NIST, and CMMC compliance produced by Core Business Solutions. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video with a thumbs up, and click the bell to get notified when we drop a new video. Also, we'd appreciate it if you would share this video with your colleagues who need to stay up to speed on DFARS, NIST, and CMMC. Thank you, and we'll see you again in the next video.